Well, welcome to the Totally Awesome Fishing Show down here on the River Wye at Hereford. I'm down here trying, and I've obviously been here 10 minutes, 15 minutes, actually 1 hour and 15 minutes, trying to catch a barbel. Going to be using pellet and feeder and pellet and luncher meat. And information supplied by Woody, who runs Woody's Fishing Tackle Shop there in Hereford. Man of the moment, man alive. He's had a lot of big fish, big match catches. What he doesn't know about the river isn't worth knowing. He sent me down here. I've managed, after a bit of a yomp with 70 pounds of a camera and fishing equipment and ground bait, to find the swim. Nothing at the moment. I've lost one fish. I've also lost 4 of those jumbo Woody feeders by casting different spots because I wasn't sure where to cast. And this is one of the problems you have. Going to a river you've never been to before. I know there's big boulders in it. I know there's stream of weed. I've got the right swim. I know I've got the swim by how many sort of pegs down that Woody told me to come. But man alive, the first 5 sets. I free-lined luncher meat trying to bump and find a clear patch. 5 in a row. Happy days. Sure, we've all been there. Anyway, by luck, Mick came down the path. I met him up there. He told me to cast a little bit downstream, so they've had nothing up there. A couple of barbel way upstream. It's very bright conditions. The colour is falling out of the river. It's dropping down. Should be good for barbel, but my gut feeling is, I've lost a fish. I think it was a chub. I think it was. Fingers crossed it was only a chub. But it bumped off in the weed close in. I'm just going to keep working away. I'll show you what the rig is. Wow. It's a fantastic weather day. It might not be a good fishing day, but I've only been going an hour or so. Okay, so base mix for my feeder is basically anything that's cheap, free and simple. All 3. A bit like me really. Oh, it's a lug all this. All the way down with all the camera equipment. In there I've got 4mm pellets. So you'll see these guys in there, like 4mm pellets. Various bags of leftover ground bait. Different colour stuff, different dyes, different this, different that. All those different flavoured herbs, halibut, spicy stuff and all that rubbish they put in there. Piled it all in there. I've damped it. I don't want to make it too stiff, so it's got to come out because the Wye is a very powerful river and it's got to break up. But I'm sitting this way because I'm also watching these rods here in case one disappears off. In fact, I'll just tell you the chub that I can't even say I saw the bite. I just thought, why is the rod butt up in the air like this? And I kept putting the rod rest lower and lower to make the butt go down, and it wouldn't. And by the time the tip was like this, it was up in the air. I thought, way, fish on. Anyway, that's the ground bait I'm using, so a bit of everything. On the hook bait, I'm going to try both ways because I'm a great lover of hot dog segments, as you know. These I just cut up with a pair of scissors. I'm on a size 4 hook. I cut both ends off. Nip that one off. About, just show you there. God, watch these rods. About that size. You see that there. On a size 4 barbless carp hook. 5 feet of 6-pound mono. 2, a small barrel swivel. 2, what you should put is a buffer bead, and then the feeder on top with this mix in it. But the one they've been telling me to use is real small hooks. These are, I'm going to try and read these with the polarising glasses on, it's terrible. No make mention, but they're a banded, using a banded pellet. Apparently if you use maggots down here you just get pestered. You will catch eventually on big bunches of maggots, but you're going to get pestered all the time. Tap, 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 small minnows, whatever, dace roach I guess. These ones are barbless, size 12. And it says here, for a 4.15mm or 4 to 15mm pellet, it must stretch. I'll show you how you put them on. Now these are ones not hooks to nylon, not banded hooks to nylon, they are just the hook, if you can see that there, just the hook. So it's an eyed hook that you can actually tie on to whatever line you want. And you can see, hopefully, the rubber ring on the top there. So, the size pellet I'm using is that one, which I guess is about 4mm. And you get this little nifty gadget that stretches that band over the top of the pellet. Hopefully I don't get a bite at the same time, and hopefully you guys are going to see this. So just open up the band, push the pellet over, release it and just slide it off, holding the banded pellet there. So obviously that will be tied onto your trace. And this about 5 feet down from the feeder. That's what they're telling me. No need to go really light here. They said, stupid 2 and 3 pound bottoms, because with a heavy feeder you're going to bump fish off. So that's what I'm using, and that's what I lost that fish on earlier. Fingers crossed I might get another bite. This time hopefully I might be able to see it. By the way, these only come 5 to a packet. At the rate I'm losing them, they should come 55 to a packet. I think I should be getting a bulk discount for feeders as well. I mean, they do go in, there's no question, they go in with a big blosh and they don't come out too easily. A little tip that Mick did tell me was that when you go to wind in, don't just start winding slowly like that, because the feeder will drag behind a boulder or into a weed bed. You'll point the rod, wind fast, sort of hit it and try and get that feeder up off the bottom and keep cranking to get it up and over any boulders or stones that it's going to snag in this river, because that's what it is. It's a prime salmon river. There's plenty of rocks and boulders and stuff in there. So that's Mick's tip. I mean, he tells me this after I lost 4 rigs, but I gathered that anyway. After 2, I thought I've got to get up quickly off the riverbed. So crank, lift up high, adjust speed, crank it in, and then once it's up in the current, it will hold the feeder up and you can get it back in. Those are the little tips that can save you a lot of money and also catch your fish. Guys, this is definitely a barbel. Got rid of a lunch of meat, lost another feeder out there. I hope to God I get this one fish in. I don't really ask for a lot when I'm making a film here. It's not nice to get a fish, but big feeder, strong current, small hook. I just never like it. No waders. And a ton of streamer weed I've got to come through. Should have bought waders, should have bought. It's got me in a weed. I mean, I love Barbel. Why does the first one always have to fight so freaking hard? Oh, I think on this side of the weed bed. Please, don't go in there. Don't go in. Don't go in. Man alive, do they scrap. Do I take a gamble or do I just get the fish? Tell me what to do, you people. Tell me what to do. There he is. I just hate that great big ka-chunking feeder on there. Hate it. It's just putting so much extra pressure, especially when it's out of the water. Here we go. I take a gamble, take a gamble. He's getting tired. I'm trying to film at the same time for you. Just look at that clarity. Oh man, what a fish. What a fish. Obviously, I could have netted that one fairly easily then, so I sort of take it almost as counted. I'm going to try and get it for you anyway. I'm going to try and net him down there, hopefully. Fingers crossed, boys. Fingers crossed. They see me. Oh, no. Oh, it's a cracker. I love it. Fish about, it's a good 6 pounds. Hold still. Yeah, he's got it. Right. Barbel's hook falls out. Oh, I do love it. You say, what's your favourite fish, Graeme? I'm happy to say, guys, it's one of these. Hardest fighting fish in Britain, I feel they are. And then that water, seeing it come through, it took me about 40 years when I was going down the Hampshire and wading, catching them on a float, seeing them visually take the bait. That is the only way to catch barbel, really, visually. What a beauty. Yes, pleased with that one. And with barbel, get them in the water as quick as you can. They fight really hard, they burn up energy, they're going to need to replace that oxygen from the water, and then they'll shoot away and be recover perfectly well. Look after them because they are a great species. Saying goes, assume the position. I've had another one that's popped me on the hook. Just got to stick on these pellets, these humongous feeders, and hopefully they don't get hung up. I think the last one might have popped up. I struck too hard. And don't forget, it's a monstrous feeder that there's not much give between the feeder and the end of the hook. Fingers crossed I get to show you another Wye barbel. Oh God, this one's coming straight in, guys. I'm going to take this one, no problem. Here he is out there. He hasn't bored off or anything. Let me see if I can find it for you. There he is. You can see the effect of that feeder's having. Between me and the rod, you can see the fish is sending a signal all the way back to that feeder. Bouncing the feeder almost. I'm just going to ease him in slowly so you can see that. So be prepared for any lunges from the fish, because he can snap against that feeder. Let's not mess about, Graeme. Oh my God, I told you he didn't fight very much, I told you. You wouldn't listen to me. Okay, nuts now. One of those bizarre days, people, when things don't really go like they should do. Hopefully I can take him this time. Under my other line. Still going to go again, I feel. Powerful fish. Mucho power. Save all his fighting to the end. Twist that downstream a bit. Look at that. I know he's going to go again. There he goes. Always be ready for those lunges with a barbel. He needs to be ready for the lunges of the Totally Awesome Fishing Show. Another crackerjack fish. Bit smaller, maybe £5. I'll take it every time. What a scrapper. Those pellets and feeder work. You can see the underslung mouth of this barbel that indicates it is a bottom dwelling species. It goes along the riverbed, hoovering up anything and everything. So, although you can catch some float fishing, and that's the best way to catch them in my opinion, when I say best, it's the most enjoyable for me, it's not possibly the most effective, and I hope you realise I do all this filming totally on my own. Sometimes I use 3 cameras, but I do the best I can. There is no film crew, there is no PA assistant, nobody holding the microphone. I do it all myself. If Mike comes with me, we invariably get a better film, but I do pretty well. I don't know anybody else who's making these standard films totally on their own and, wait for this, catching the fish. Now here's a tip. When you're feeder fishing, and it's tough with these big old feeders, try and hit the same spot every time. There, I'm actually trying to target an area of shade. Here you can see the feeder just close in. I want to show you this, and there is the feeder, how fast it empties in that current. And it depends how far, well, basically how hard you squeeze it in. But anything that comes along and moves it, if you're in a stronger current, then that feed is going to empty much quicker. For instance, down the bottom end here you can see it's laying in amongst the boulders, but if there's a swirl in the current, look how it releases all those food particles and they just trundle along. That's why on somewhere like the Wye, you might not want to fish a short drop. You might want to fish at least a 5-foot tail there to allow for it. Just up the bank from me was Sue, who was fishing with the bailiff Mick in another swim, I guess 300 or 400 yards upstream from me. I think they'd lost a barbel and they had one chub. So it seemed logical trying to get them some fish to get them to come down in my swim. Well, I tell you what, I cast the rod out. I got the second rod out. As I turned to Sue to say where to cast, one of my rods went away and I asked her would she mind winding this barbel in for me so I could film it. Now a lot of people, they get a bit twitchy about this, go, oh, I didn't hook the fish. But Sue had no problem, because Sue is hoping to go and start a career as a professional guide, and she's had some good fish on the Wye, as you can see here, perfectly capable of winding fish in. So it was my pleasure to give her that fishing rod and see her catch a barbel on it. So enjoy, guys. It's going to be a female guide. I'm sure it'll be very popular when she starts guiding, and well, she can fish as well. What more could you ask for? Yeah. Oh. Well done. Thank you very much for that. That's good.
Lovely fish.
It was done on Graham's right.
Yeah, I walked up, cast out, it went bang. I said, can you wind that one in for me?
Okay, this is the type of fish you get on the pellet feeder.
And what other ones have you had? You've had some big ones as well?
Chub.
And
barbel.
You've had several doubles, you say?
I've had 4 Y doubles.
Really?
Yeah.
And what do you get those on?
At boilies.
On boilies?
Yes.
Do you find the pellet feeder picks up smaller fish, or not necessarily?
No, always use the boilies.
You use boilies all the time?
Yes.
But you're convinced to change the pellet now?
Yeah, could be.
Brilliant, thank you. Now, what I did learn in the small time I was up on the Wye is that it can go up and down like a yo-yo. And it depends where the rain is up in the mountains as to when it gets down, how long it takes to travel down the valleys, and it looks nice and clear. But even overnight there, you can see that gravel is starting to show where the water's dropping. And Woody and Mick confirmed it, that really the best of the barbel fishing is when you have a bit of colour on, a bit of push of fresh water going through, but it's fining down. When it goes clear like this, you can go chub. Now in these strange parts up in Hereford, they got something called the minnow whisperer. Yes, it's a dog that whispers to the shoals of minnow and stands motionless, looking through the water, just watching the fish. Hey, you! I said, excuse me, you! Yes, look at me when I'm talking to you. Just show me exactly what you do. So you stand in the water, and you stare and stare and stare at the fish. Oh, I see, you have to remain absolutely motionless. I've got it. I see, I must do that. In fact, my rods look pretty motionless. Maybe I could be a fish whisperer as well. And with those insects coming out, so do the fish. As all barbel anglers know, this is the witching hour. The last hour of daylight is the time when that rod could go crashing round with one of those whiskery fish on the end of it. It's superb. Well, I think Sue has now left a happy woman after I got her to wind that fish in for me. Got some good shots for you there. And as soon as they've left, away we go again on the pellet. I changed the band size. I wasn't happy about the band size I had. And luckily Mick the bailiff gave me a few 4 really small bands and showed me how to groove the pellet so it doesn't slide off. Now, I'm not saying I've got the fish, but I am hooked up to a barbel. Again. What a wind's changing, and what a beauty to finish off with, guys. Oh, calm down, ladies. I guess a fish around, what do you think, 8 pounds? Didn't bring any scales. We don't usually take scales with me, to be honest. It's not a double, but I figure, look at that head on that. Man, that's a beautiful fish. Lovely look. I got him, put him at close to 8 pounds. I've had a fantastic day here on the Wye. Thanks to Woody for putting me on the fish. The fish may be jumping. Put me on the fish. Let's get this guy back. And yes, I'm going to have that one more cast. Totally awesome fishing. Totally awesome barbel. I've got to get more of these fish. I love them. What do you think? I've obviously had a great day's fishing with some great weather. But actually, guys, no. As that sun dropped below the horizon and the shade line came out across the water, I was in yet again with another barbel. I mean, I have to ask myself, Why, get it? Why I haven't been to this river before. I fished it once with Mike about 2 years ago. We didn't get barbel, we didn't get chub. This time I just had a hunch I should be going up there. Boy, was I glad I did. It's got some great fishing up there, magnificent scenery, get everything you want for the local tackle shop, but more important, wait for this, is the information, which areas to fish. That's really what it's all about. Location, location, location. I've just got this one located in my landing net.